Well, hello, TLC Freedom Health Tribe. It is Monday, April 11th, 2022, and I am Dr. Ellithorpe from Tustin Longevity Center. We here, along with the other healthcare providers, are an integrative functional medicine practice where we try to bring the best of standard allopathic medicine mixed with tremendous amounts of experience, research, and publication, lectures that we've done, books that we've written, publications we've made, and to help our patients in this world. And we do this channel to try and create another venue to help you to reach out with some questions you have about your health and how to improve it. We're for preventive health, but we are also for restorative health. So today we are talking in general terms. This is not to replace your visit with your doctor. If you have a specific question, please call the office or see your local doctor. We will generally approach the answers here, and I will do the best I can. I don't know everything, but I'll let you know how we would try and approach it. So let us begin tonight with the first question is from Shannon and David Tollison. Okay. Hi, Dr. Rita. I am a 62-year-old female, 140 pounds, 5'6", O positive blood, and have restless legs day and night. Any recommendations? Well, I have several. We don't know the cause of restless leg syndrome, but the nerves are being stimulated somehow. And as we age, like our skin, it thins. And so we can get bruises easier. We can get cuts and scrapes easier, and we don't heal as well. So we're thinking that with restless leg syndrome, it's a manifestation of aging because it usually comes later in age, although it's not exclusive to older people. Not that 62 is old compared to me. I wish I were 62 again. But the nerve itself is covered with a fatty lining covering, like an electrician will put rubber encasement over the copper in his electrical lines. So we have what is called a myelin sheath. And that myelin sheath is made up of, you know how we always talk about this picture here in the wall of this cell membrane? And here, right here is a little cutout where a damage occurred. And then here is how we repair it. So it's a double layer like a sandwich, and it's fatty. It is more fat than it is protein. So it's a fatty protein layer that wraps, and it's non-conductive, so that the irritation that might exist in the surrounding tissues, electrolytes, heavy metal accumulations, would not bother it. But over time, we're bioaccumulating heavy metals might be triggering this. That's definitely a thought. We also become mineral deficient with age. And with minerals, I'm talking largely magnesium, potassium, and so forth. So we start with helping the patient to drink enough water, to dilute things out, to reduce toxins. We ask them to take a high quality multi-mineral supplement called TLC Multimin, rich in magnesium and potassium and other micronutrients, selenium. And we ask them to lower their carbs so that you're not clogging up capillaries, and to try and eat a more natural diet of whole foods, not packaged processed foods, so that you're getting in the healthy fats from the skin of the chicken. I just had my roasted chicken that I roasted a week ago. I think I roasted it last week, and I had it sealed up and frozen, then thawed. So I had it today, and I had the chicken with the onions. And so that is going to help replace the membranes. And then You could start talking about adding things like parent essential oils. These are the essential linoleic and alpha-linolenic acid. Clinician's preference, which is the liquid or the capsule form that we use here. These two, clinician preference, this is the liquid form. I can take a little sip whenever I want, but I do use the capsules because these are the right oils to take, not EPA and DHA and so forth. Then you could do EDTA chelation to reduce the heavy metal toxins. So to get a good night's sleep, we ask you not to eat late and don't drink alcohol and toxins because that will disrupt your sleeping, which will amplify the triggering of restless leg syndrome. So these are the beginning points where we would start. You're being an O-type blood, the genetic raping, modification of the grains, and the homogenization, pasteurization of dairies creates more free radical stress and gut lining irritation that will amplify cell membrane damage, like here on the cell membrane. So we would ask you to try and be eating your fish, chicken, beef, pork, and your low carb veggies, and try and stay away from the grains and the dairy. That would be the beginning point, Shannon. That's how I would start out. Let's see. Dion Smith says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. My 84-year-old brother, B positive, broke his clavicle. That's the bone right collarbone. His doctor recommended non-specific calcium and vitamin D. Your suggestion?" Well, he should get a bone density. And then, how did he break it? Was it a fall? And or was it really with very little provocation to probably suggest that he has osteoporosis? I am not a person who recommends calcium supplementation per se, although in the TLC multimineral calcium, there is some calcium in there. We would like to see people eating that calcium in its natural format, which is in your meat, your liver, your pork, your eggs, your chicken, and fish, and things like this. But he's 84, so he's probably not digesting food as well, which means he won't absorb his minerals as well. So I would recommend digestive enzymes after he eats a meal. I take 4 or 5 after a meal. Then I would emphasize eating these calcium-rich foods, but not dairy. Dairy could be had if it's raw. That means it won't be homogenized or pasteurized. The other thing I would say is vitamin K2, MK7, and I would mix that, link it with vitamin D. So we have the vitamin D 10,000 with the K2, and I would split it probably morning and evening as a 5,000 international unit with K2 in the morning and 5,000 in the evening. And then I would look at his testosterone level and ask, if he doesn't have any serious other health issues, I would give him some testosterone to help stimulate muscle, to help develop tensile stress on the bones, to stimulate them. I would encourage him to stand up and stomp his feet on a hard surface, and that stimulates the bones that way. Sit down, stand up, stomp, 10 steps, and then sit down, stand up, stomp. That will help build up his bone strength. And then I would give him, probably that's a very good beginning point. So that's where I would begin, Deanne. Let's see. Yes, Deanne goes on to say, a joke for hardworking Dr. Rita. Praise the Lord. I'm holding up 6 days a week. Sunday with church, and I got some family visit time in with my grandchildren. And then I had all my cooking to do. I did a lot of cooking today as well after I saw patients. What did I do today? I made chili, all beef chili. and I made meatloaf. So what I do when I make my chili, I take a cup of the chili out and I mix it in my bowl of hamburger and whatnot to put into my beef that's in the meatloaf. Makes it taste real good. What else did I make? I think that's all I made today. But thank you. Let's see. What is your joke? What time of day was Adam created? Just a little before Eve. Oh, is that cute? I'm going to write that one down. Let me write that down, Deanne. Good girl. You made me happy. Let's see. What time of day was Adam created? A little before Eve. Okay. All right. So guess what? I have. Let's see. Robert Pinsky is coming in. I can always count on Robert. This goes back a long time ago. But what kind of doctor was the first to accept credit cards? A plastic surgeon. A plastic surgeon. That is so good, Robert. Robert Pinsky, plastic surgeon. First to accept credit cards. That's really cute. All right, so I have one for you all. Okay? Here we go. Here's my joke back at you. I'll give you two jokes because you guys gave me two. And the first one is, do trees, leafy trees, do trees poop? Do trees poop? Of course they do. How else would you get number 2 pencils? Number 2 pencils. Oh my goodness. All right. And then that's for you, Deanne. And let's see, what would be the one for Robert? Robert, here's one for you back at you. What do they call insects that are on the moon? What do you call insects on the moon? You call them lunatics. Lunatics. Anyway, lunatics. That's funny. All right. I have two more, but I'll give them a little later. A merry heart doth a body good. And so I just think it's so wonderful to have, just something that we own here at TLC Health Freedom Tribe. And that's our wonderful jokes and joy of life. And we have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot of serious work. We have a lot to do, but it's a joy to work with you folks. God has made wonderful people. All right, let's see. Carol has a question. How different is a progesterone capsule prescription from pharmacy from those made from a compounding pharmacy? No, there's not much. The Prometrium is the trade name for natural progesterone capsule. And I forget which company makes it, but they put it in a capsule and it's in an oil, and that oil is peanut oil. And peanut oil is cheap and very available. And so, of course, if they're going to market it from a company, the patent, of course, you can't patent natural progesterone. Then they will, make it with a peanut oil. So if you can tolerate peanut oil, then that's fine. Now, if you go to a compounding pharmacy, they can do the exact same thing. However, very often they will use olive oil, and instead they'll mix the progesterone with olive oil and put it in a capsule. And then they have usually more variability. I think Prometrium just comes as a 100 or a 200, whereas the compounding pharmacist is much more responsive to the needs of the patient. We could make it lower, we can make it mid-range, anything we want. Is there anything else that I could add to that? The compounding pharmacist can make them as lozenges that you can suck on. He can put it into a cream so you can apply it topically. He can make it a vaginal suppository. So you're never going to get those at a regular chain. And I don't like them because they worship at the foot of a felony corporation. I think it's an international crime syndicate. For instance, Pfizer has paid billions in felony charges for bribing doctors that they were found guilty of, and for withholding records and from the FDA, and for their culpability and knowingly not reporting side effects that brought about deaths, unlawful death. So we are dealing with companies that are felons. They are felons, and you wouldn't go to your local, find the felony group gang in your city and say, hey, will you be my pharmacist? And so I think we have to decentralize and get rid of these big corporations and have much more local control. Anyway, so Carol, I hope that answers your question. I think you could do very well just with Prometrium, Prometrium, 100 or 200 milligram straight capsules. Debbie S. says, hi, Dr. Rita. Is an air fryer fine to cook with on occasion? Yes, I think it is. And the concept there, though, is you're trying to avoid putting it into a liquid oil, which is very often seed oils today. These are corrupt products that get hydrogenated, and they damage the foods through damaging the food fatty acids. So deep frying in these seed oils is horrific. Corn oil, mazola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil. What other oils are there? Any liquid at room temperature means it's got a double bond in it or more, and they will crack and become harmful if you heat them up. Oils like olive oil or avocado oil should be applied to your salads, to cool foods, and or taken just straight orally. And this would have some value, some benefit, but not structurally. These oils, avocado oil, olive oil, do not provide any essential fatty acids the human body needs. If in the old days, when they first started having like a place like McDonald's or a fast food restaurant, they were all cooking in lard, beef suet, lard. And that was saturated, and it could withstand the high cooking temperatures, and it was non-harmful. But those days are long destroyed by corrupt science, corrupt institutions of higher learning, corrupt medical school training, corrupt nutrition school, dietitian training, and they don't teach about this anymore. Joseph says, I have become interested in the possible negative effects of high levels of linoleic acid on the mitochondria, possibly involved in various chronic conditions. Would you comment on linoleic acid? Yes, and what you need to do there, Joseph, is to discern whether it's a hydrogenated linoleic acid, because that's what all processed food is taking linoleic acid, because all living, the life of the animal and mammals and all this natural existing whole food is composed and must be, because it's essential to human life, to have linoleic acid. It's essential. You will get sick and or die without it. Now, if you hydrogenate that linoleic acid with its double bonds, then you have changed it from linoleic. It no longer is what God intended. And now it's a foreign molecule that is harmful and inappropriately intercalated into the cell membrane, even though it's damaged, and becomes harmful. And so all this hydrogenated fat is really hydrogenated linoleic acid. We should let food be local. We should let food be non-processed, packaged with a long storage shelf life, because food is meant to rot. It's supposed to rot. And that's how you know that the linoleic acid was not damaged. So it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you can talk about how the hydrogenated linoleic acid is very damaging. On the other hand, if you don't buy, potato chips, and you don't go to fast food restaurants and you eat French fries and you eat, pizzas and packaged processed foods, then you're not being exposed to the hydrogenated linoleic acid. If you're eating your beef and a vegetable and a salad and some nuts or seeds that have linoleic acid in it in a natural sense, it's quite safe. All right. Let's see, what else do we have here? Dorothy. Dorothy says, the best is yet to come. My daughter and son-in-law are bringing my anointed grandson to see me this Sunday for Easter. Wonderful. And I'm feeling great and lost 10 pounds. Well, Dorothy, I'm so proud of you. And I compliment you on that. And what a blessing it is to see the grandchildren. And I pray you stay healthy and long enough to see that grandson old enough to become married and bring you a great grandson. All right, Tiziana. Hi, Tiziana. Good evening, Dr. E. My 84-year-old father had been up for an hour and all of a sudden felt faint. His systolic blood pressure was 67 and heart rate 44. He is not on any blood pressure medicines. Could he have hyponatremia, or what do you think? Well, this sounds like heart block. A aging heart can have cells that, in the matrix of all the cells and all the tiny capillaries and all the nerve endings and all the veins and all the lymphatics, it's like a forest. And the threads, like spider webs, these little communication systems of nerves are there. And if a cell gets hurt or injured and dies, it can clip off and damage a nerve that is passing through. And therefore, the flow of the electrochemical signal for the natural contraction, repolarization, contraction, repolarization can become diminished, and that can become a scar and permanent. And we call it, first degree heart block, second degree, third degree heart block. It can be very concerning, and a heart rate that suddenly drops is usually associated with this happening. Could it be due to a heart attack? Yes, it could be. Could it be due to a serum electrolyte deficiency? Yes, it could be. If I have a concern, I wonder if your father was vaccinated, if you call those gene therapies a vaccination, because there is heart damage well established that has been uncovered in these Freedom of Information released data on from Pfizer, that they knew about heart damage, myocarditis, and various things. So in the spike protein that is produced by the gene therapy of the vaccine can generate this uh, endothelial and myocardial damage. So I would also look at that, and I give us an update on that. And hopefully your doctor is you have them at the hospital, and they're looking at all these things right now. Deanne Smith says, Dr. Rita, what nuts and seeds do you recommend? Tiziana said he was vaccinated. Thank you. Yeah, I am most concerned that the number one injured person is in the senior age group, just like the alleged pandemic was most harmful for the aged. But you see, in 41 years of practicing medicine, I go through the flu season for 41 cycles. And it's always the older you get. That is how all of us will possibly pass. Maybe someday, I'll be in bed, hopefully after my 100th birthday, and I go to bed, and maybe I felt a little congested or something, and I will just not wake up. And that would be a blessing to go to heaven that way. Gather up my knees into my bed, like in chapter 50 of Genesis, and give up the ghost. But yeah, look at that. Now, Deanna said, what nuts and seeds do you recommend? Well, I want you to understand that a lot of people think cashews are nuts, and they're not. They're beans. Cashews are beans. And they are very often, associated with a high carb content. That's why they taste so delicious. And they have molds, like peanuts are legumes as well. So I don't like cashews. I don't like peanuts. They're not really nuts or seeds from trees. So walnuts are excellent, and they're very low carb, and they're rich in linoleic acid naturally. Um, um, Pine seeds are good. The little kind of teardrop pine seeds. Sunflower seeds are good. What else is good? I'm drawing a blank. What is it called? Macadamia nut. Yeah, macadamia nuts are rich in healthy fats and very low in carbs. So macadamia nuts, sunflower seeds, almonds are good. Pine seeds, walnuts, pecans. Pecans are very good. So that's 5 or 6 right there, and I would rotate them. I wouldn't have mixed nuts. I would rotate them. Hopefully that helps you, Deanne. And you can overeat nuts and seeds because there are carbs in them, and there are proteins in them, and there are good fats. But you can overeat anything, really. So you have to set constraints upon yourself in your eating habits. Witzlock says, Libby W. asks, generally, what do you recommend to people about dental health? For example, how important is it to remove mercury fillings even if they're very small? Yes, I think it's a matter of the experience of the doctor. I have been practicing and concerned about mercury fillings for over 40 years because I was aware of the damage of amalgams and mercury, because they're a mixture of metals, not just mercury. And this has been heavily used in my generation. It is used less and less today because the porcelain fillings are doing, more cosmetically, and that we're more aware of it, and thank goodness for that. So I am in favor of removing the dental amalgams. Now, in general, dental health is as important as having good hygiene, as exercising, as getting a good night's sleep, as drinking water. In fact, most of my patients would all say, 99% of the time when they come and see me, no matter what they come here for, if we're just going over labs sometimes, I still do a full exam. I look in their ears, their eyes, their throat, their lung, chest, neck, heart, abdomen, their joints, and so forth. And I look in their mouth because I want to see how healthy their gums are. I want to see if they have any broken or chipped teeth or some of the fillings that have fallen out. Because every time you bite down on those amalgams, you are getting an increased squirt, you might say, of toxic metals. Every hot drink you sip, every hot piece of food you bite into on a mercury filling uh, leaks out these heavy metal toxins more. Now, if it's a tiny heavy metal deposit amalgam, usually they're on the sides of the teeth, then uh, everything has a balance. I certainly start chelating people irrespective of how many fillings they have, but I do address this. I do talk about their gum health, and I do talk about fixing broken or broken off teeth. These are harbingers of bacterial growth and cardiovascular number one inflammation. So yes, it's very important. Yes, it's important to be low carb so you don't feed the bacteria here. And yes, it's very important to have a good oral wash. I use for all viruses and everything for, maybe 2 decades now. I've been using Argentyn silver, 23 parts per billion in a nanoparticular solution. That's much better than colloidal, but colloidal silver is still very, very good. And I'll brush my teeth, and then I will take a little sip out of my private little jar of Argentyn silver. I'll swish it, and then I'll swallow it because it also very safely kills off bad bacteria, not good bacteria. And of course, I take my probiotics. And so there you have it. Dental health is very, very important. Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. You often mention how Juice Plus is just food, healthy fruits and veggies. How is it that Juice Plus does not interfere with a fast? I usually take Juice Plus on the days I'm fasting. Is that okay? Yes, it is, Jennifer. It's like taking your vitamins. It is a micronutrient dense because the starch or sugar, glucose, and fruit sugar contents are removed so that the micronutrients are left. So it is not a source of a insulin stimulating medium. So yeah, it's very fine to take it. It's a whole food concentrate, you might say, in the sense that all the micronutrients are there. It's just the sugar water and the fructose water has been dried off in a cool environment so that the heat doesn't damage the antioxidants. Hopefully that answers your question. Dolores says, hi, Dr. Rita, how are you? Oh, okay. How about pumpkin seeds? Yes, pumpkin seeds, yes. Dolores would be another good source. Happy Resurrection Day to you and your family. Praying you get rest and Lord provide you with additional doctors. Thank you so much, everyone, for your intercessory prayer for our practice here, that we might continue to put the patient first and our relationship with each of our patients as a precious thing in the sight of the Lord. That's why we're looking for very special doctors. We are looking at one right now who might be coming on board soon. And actually, this doctor had worked with us before many years ago when I was first starting, and is a board certified gynecologist and is also trained in some other specialties since then, and is interested in starting to work here part-time. So we'll see. So if that's the will of the Lord, He'll let us know and He'll make it work out. So thank you for that. And I will have a wonderful Resurrection Day. It's the most exciting holiday for me. And I'm not cooking. So I get to relax that day and just go and be with family. Maxine says, hi, Dr. Rita. Do you prefer almond butter over peanut butter? Thank you. And have a happy Easter. Yes, I do. Because I don't like the aflatoxins and mold products that usually come with the bean environment of peanuts, okay? And almonds seem to have much less history of this kind of storage problem, molds and so forth. Yeah, but you got to be careful that you don't overuse it because it is a carb source. So yeah, I do prefer almond butter. Now, I really never use any of that. Again, the way I eat for the most part, I cook my Lithuanian stew for holidays. But my routine in the week would be I have a chuck roast I slow cook. I have my chicken prairie raised, air cooled that I slow roast. I make chili. I make chicken soup. I make what else do I make? Salmon and a pork roast. And that's pretty much what I rotate through. I have my beef day, my chicken day, fish day, and I have a pork day. And then and I really cook in batches. And I have a freezer in the garage, and I have frozen things in there that I use. I get Butcher Box, and with Butcher Box, I get my steaks, and I get my bacon, and I get my fish and my pork. And I have in a jar, not a jar, a bowl in my refrigerator, I'll pull out 4 steaks or 3 steaks so that I can, at any time I want, I can just get my little iron frying pan, turn the heat on, put a little pat of butter, and then I can lay that steak on there and flip it over in 3 to 5 minutes. And I have a very nice dinner. And I have some frozen broccoli, or I have some frozen mushrooms or frozen onion. And I can have that alongside of my food. I have broccoli, I have Brussels sprouts, I have green beans, I have cans of spinach because I like canned spinach. And I will sometimes just open up a can of spinach and eat right out of the can. That's how weird I am. Okay, let's see. Jennifer, question number 2. Does excess facial hair in women signal a hormone problem? How do they correct it? Well, as we age and our estrogen dominance diminishes, because we stop making any estradiol, then the hormones that are left that are pretty still consistent are from the adrenal and testosterone production, and we still make testosterone. And that then becomes more dominant when the estrogen and progesterone go away, and that will stimulate the facial hairs. So yeah, that's where it comes from. Now, DHEA, dihydroepiandrosterone, helps to support the adrenal glands and the cortisol production so you can handle the stress of life and many of the wonderful things that cortisol does. And one of the byproducts is testosterone downstream from that. And so I take DHEA for the white blood cell enhancing immune function and to get some testosterone in me so that my muscle mass for my workouts 3 times a week allow me to keep on repairing and building muscles. Now, because I do use estradiol and progesterone, I haven't lost that feminine hormone input. So my chin hairs of aging are very rare, very occasional, and I'll just feel it and I'll pluck it. But if you're not using any hormones, then this will start to increase, and you'll have to pluck them but I would not stop using dihydroepiandrosterone because it does so many other wonderful things. And we will always check that on labs for women. We'll do even if they've had breast cancer and they're no longer on hormones, or they're postmenopausal and they don't want to use hormones, I still check it, because very often if women are drinking wine or alcohol, that will falsely raise up their estrogen, and they will be in a estrogen dominant, sustained lifestyle, stimulating their body without the balance of progesterone. And then I can also see their testosterone level. And if it drops very low, which it typically will over time, then I'll tell the patient, even if they're postmenopausal and they have had breast cancer, I'll still want to give them testosterone or at least DHEA. But it's not a problem, and we can look at it and manage it. Kristen says, just curious, do you have any recommendations about what to do with a prolapse uterus bladder? Do you have an opinion on what truly causes it? Yeah, just like my chin, my skin here is getting flabby with age. My collagen, elastin, I can't stop the fact that one day I will die. And I will gray. I will turn gray someday. I don't color my hair. There's nothing fake on me at all. There was no implant, no surgery, nothing. What you see is what came out of my mother, some 9 years ago. And I would just say that the collagen elastin that holds up our face is the same thing that's holding up the uterine broad ligaments that are in your lower pelvis. And that holds up the uterus. And as we age and it degenerates, it will start sagging, and it'll start descending down the vaginal canal, and that is called a prolapsing uterus. What doctors do, very often they'll say just cut it out. But if you get a pessary is kind of like a soft covered plastic ring that if you take the plastic ring, and it looks like about that, and it's very bouncy, if you squeeze it and you insert it intravaginally and kind of shove it up there, your cervix will go through the ring, and the ring will just stay around this, and it will help to create like if I was wearing a turtleneck, and the turtleneck would help lift up my flabby double chin. So the pessary has been used for a very long time to help women avoid surgery if they don't need it. There are cases where it becomes so prolapsed, and it's pulling on the bladder and pulling it with it, that we have problems. And so you would get a pelvic exam, you would work with your doctor and see if you need to see a gynecologist to consider surgery if it's really needed, and you would go from there. Natural hormone replacement therapy, though, helps with the collagen elastin. Testosterone helps with the strength of your intra-abdominal muscles and your pelvic floor muscles. There's a place called Womanology, WOMONOLOGY, Womanology. And this is physical therapy where a female will do a pelvic exam, and with her hand, she'll go in there and help you to feel a muscle and ask you to bear down or squeeze down like a Kegel, and to learn to exercise these areas. And what else? Also, natural hormone therapy will help actually the lining of the vaginal wall. The tube of the vaginal wall could be thin. It will become thin. If this is the vaginal canal, it'll get thin like paper and rip and be raw and irritated just by aging without hormones. But if you are a young woman with your hormones, it would be kind of like the thickness of my sweater, the tube. It'd be much thicker. You can see, there's meat here and structure. The lining is thicker with tissue. And the estradiol and the estriol and estrone help the thickness, which creates structure, so that there's a light therapy that even post breast cancer women who cannot use hormones, we use Mona Lisa Touch. Mona Lisa is just like putting a little speculum in the vagina, and this light turns around and it shines a light, and that light, the frequency of it, helps the vaginal lining to become more youthful and responsive to repair and structure, collagen elastin. And that literally will help keep the uterus also elevated. So let's see. So aging causes it. Now, if you have had lots of children vaginally, or even surgery with C-sections, that's going to put wear and tear on that entire pelvic organ sling. There's a sling there in a woman, and then we have this hole, where we will have our babies through, and literally the abdominal contents are pressurized to go through that vaginal hole, pelvic floor. And so that's why I like hormones. That's why I like a healthy, rich protein and fat diet. That's why I like exercise. That's why I like natural hormones. All these things help. So let's see. Let's see. I found my place. Okay. Oh, Harlow says, God bless you, Dr. Rita. Thank you. And I am blessed. I am so blessed, even on bad days. I thank God. Count it all joy when you come into diverse tribulations, because I forget how the rest of the scripture goes, but Paul rejoiced in his stresses because it helped him to be a better man of God and serve his fellow man and his Lord better. And so even when I'm stressed, I ponder, how can this enable me to serve better? Because if I'm already eternal, and not because of who I am, but because of what he did for me, dying on the cross and raising from the dead. So I just love reading my Bible, and I love my patients, and I love being able to just talk openly about my way of dealing with the stresses of life, the stresses of all my patients. Go home with me in my heart. I try every day to pray for you and to get his wisdom and his peace so that I'm fresh each day. Now, I'm not perfect. I sin all the time, and I needed that Savior. So thank you so much for your prayers for me, and thank you, Harlow. Tiziana says, since going low carb, I develop very little dental plaque. Yes, absolutely. My dental hygienist compliments me. Absolutely. If you know the Weston Price Foundation, that Dr. Weston Price was a dentist in the 1920s. And he, when the camera started, he got all excited because he had a camera, and simple, but he still had a camera. And he then went and took pictures, took boat rides to the Fiji Islands and the Samoan Islands, and then he went up to the Alaska and the Eskimos, and then he went out to the Africa in the Sahara, and he started taking just pictures of people's mouths. And he noticed very nutritional related dental health and life, living long life predictions just by their teeth structure and their diet. And being low carb was very, very much easier in the 1920s, because we didn't have as much access to this junk food and high fructose corn syrup. And then the study of plaque and in dental health, and Juice Plus has at least 2, maybe 3 university-based dental schools that have studied Juice Plus on the oral health and the gum as well as the pockets. You know how they measure how deep the pocket is, your gum lining to the junction of your tooth. And over and over again, the bone structure, the pocket where they can get into your gum line, the periodontal disease, the uh, is just superior on the Juice Plus people, and that goes along with her low carb lifestyle. People who are using Juice Plus are trying for the most part, and the whole company and the owner I know, Jay Martin, he loves children. He was a teacher, and he, that's why he created it free for the kids for 4 years if a adult sponsors them, because he loves children. And dental health is very important to these kids, and it certainly is a blessing to them to see that. So, yeah, plaque will almost go away if you live on a low carb diet. Jennifer says, regarding Maxine's question, how about organic peanut butter? Would that be okay if it's organic? Well, that comes into faith, and is it really organic? I make mistakes. I am not perfect, and I try to have the most ethical practice. But money and hard times, people cut corners, people fudge, and they'll say the word organic, even though maybe they wink at some of the production practices. That's why I like to go to places. Since I was my major was chemistry, biochemistry in college as an analytical chemist, and I would understand how to do assays and to look at tracking these companies and their sourcing and so forth, and their lab assays on contaminants and so forth. So I suppose organic is better because they'll probably work hard to be fresh and a low turnover with a small production. But aflatoxin, you have to have assays for that with peanuts. And I don't know where you're getting your source, if they have an aflatoxin mold toxins assay with their group, if that's tested. If it is, it's a really good product. Let's see. Harlow says, enjoy your resurrections. I will. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you, Harlow. Jennifer, hi, Dr. Rita. You often mention how Juice Plus is just food. I answered that already. I mentioned that it is the micronutrient concentrate with the fruit sugar and the starch glucose rinsed away, dehydrated away. And it is safe to use on fasting days. Harlow asks, should I be concerned if iron serum is high, iron saturation? And the answer, Harlow, is yes. And men have a higher proclivity to have higher iron levels. Women, we menstruate, and we have a regular loss of blood and iron. But then as soon as we hit menopause and stop menstruating, then our iron elevations can go up also. So one of the things, Harlow, is EDTA chelation helps reduce that. I would donate my blood to the Red Cross, every 4 months, 3 times a year. But that needs to be tracked. You and your doctor have to follow that and look for other esoteric causes. Are you eating in some iron-rich container that's leaching it into your food? Are you taking a vitamin that unfortunately is meant for women and it has iron in it because they tend to be anemic because they menstruate so much? So see your doctor about that and get a plan or a strategy to track it, because iron, just like too much water, too much glucose, too much oxygen can harm us. Too little can harm us. So there's a right amount. And I want you to have that tracked and work with your doctor to address it. Too much is an oxidative stress and damaging. Harlow says, am I eating too much protein? Um, I would say it is a more complex issue than just saying, am I eating too much protein? We're made of protein. We have to eat it. So we have to find a solution that works to get healthy protein in for health, repair, and the nerves and the vessels and the brain function to all be working optimally in your joints. Plus, figure out how to manage your iron and why it's doing that. And make sure it's not in your diet, it's not in your vitamins, it's not in any of your cookware. And then once we're sure of that, then we can look at some other things. But do please see your doctor and address that so it can be managed. Now, the most simple way is just donate your blood every 4 months, 3 times a year. We do phlebotomize here where we don't give the blood to donation. We just drain it off 250 mLs, and we do that as much as 6 times a year for some people. Kaya says, what are your thoughts about deodorants? Any concerns? Many. Because most of them have aluminum in them. Aluminum has been often been associated with a antiperspirant action, and that aluminum is absorbed. And then there's concerns about heavy metal, chronic toxicity exposure, and neurological damage. So yeah, we're concerned about deodorants. What do? I use washcloths, and I use an organic soap, and I use that Argentyn silver I tell you about all the time. That is that Argentyn 23. It's the nanoparticulate silver. And so I just spray under my arm with the spray bottle. If I start to get a sore throat, I spray in my throat. My little grandson was having allergies, and he's not quite 2, and he's rubbing his eyes, and with his little dirty fingers exploring the world, he was getting some puffy eyes and some discharge. And I told his mom and dad to just take the Argentyn and spray it on his face like a game, like peekaboo spray, because it's just like water. And immediately that discharge and the sticky yellow went away immediately within hours, and he did much better. So it kills bacteria, fungi, and viruses. So it's a wonderful, natural, non-toxic sterilant, and you can do that, many times a day. You can keep it at work or keep it in your purse and just squirt it under your arms, and that's what I use. Kristen says, thanks so much, your wisdom regarding the question about the prolapse. Okay, wonderful, Kristen. Karen, hi, Dr. Rita. What is your thought on taking collagen proteins, i.e. vital protein, collagen, peptides, grass-fed, pasture-raised? Could you share a little about the benefits of Regenemax Plus? Yeah, Regenemax is made by Metagenics, I believe. Or is it Zymogen? I don't have it here, so I can't see right off the bat. But the effort in that product is to support your nails and your hair. We have another product called Collagen, and what is it called? Collagen. I can't see it. Collagen, and there's another one for it. Oh, there it is. Chondrofix. Okay, Chondrofix and collagen. Now, I use the company Orthomolecular, and that's my preferred company overall. One, because I know the owners. I know them from a young company 35 years ago in the 1990s. And my family grew up in northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin. They're in northern Wisconsin. So we are aware of the background of the founders and their moral, God-fearing duty to provide exactly what they say is on the bottle. And then I've been up there a couple of times, and I've been through their labs and their production, and I have seen the assays and sampling, and I'm very convinced with their field group of their high ethics. And they only sell to physicians because they're trying to do a service, because there isn't a FDA or a regulatory agency. So really, orthomolecular represents the finest in self-governance and self-accountability in the alternative supplement world. Therefore, concerning collagen, they have looked hard and wide and studied it. And, I can call up their PhDs and their research and their clinicians up there, and we can talk. And they do call me, and we have collaborated on developing certain things like enhancing the vascuzyme. But my point is they found that that has to be a certain size of collagen product that can be absorbed orally. And very often, just saying it's organic raised collagen products from animals does not necessarily mean it is of the right size. And so the assays that they do in collagen and Chondrofix is a two kind of prong program that they have for collagen, elastin, hair growth, nail growth, joint repair. And it works because we have research on it. We have orthopedic, surgical, clinical science testing, patients, x-rays, pre and post studies that actually show that this product works. Whereas Regenemax still stays more in the clinician's hand without as much validating research. I think Regenemax has done some good in that arena in my experience, but I certainly feel Chondroflex and Collagen, those two products by Orthomolecular, have done very, very well. And hopefully that answers your question a little bit. I'm going to try and quickly answer these last three questions, and then we'll wrap. Dolores, is Juice Plus a powder, liquid, or capsules? It is a capsule concentrate of vegetables, capsule concentrate of fruit, and capsule concentrate of berries. So it's like a purple capsule, a red capsule regarding the fruit, and green on the vegetables. That's what it is. Now, they do let some of it stay, the fruit sugars stay around, and starches, to create the gummies for the toddlers, the little children who can't swallow a capsule. So they do have it in the chewable gummies. And they have done research with that, and it has borne out to be valuable. Then Libby Whitlock. Hello, Dr. Rita. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity to ask questions and learn from. Okay, praise, thank you. And Libby says, while on a program to restore digestive health, if constipation is an issue, is there something to help with constipation? Thank you. Let's see if there's more to that question. It looks like she was at it. All right. I would say water is the number one. You want to talk about constipation? You have to talk about downing half your weight in pounds. So if you're a 200-pound man, 100 ounces. If you're a 150-pound woman, 75 ounces. You have to down half your weight in pounds every day. And then you have to have minerals. I think it would be wiser, instead of trying to go out and buy fiber, to take a high quality amino acid chelate mineral like we have in the TLC multi-mineral with the magnesium and so forth, that helps relax and promote peristalsis. Exercise, regular exercise, sleep. A healthy sleep cycle is very important, and morning routines. Enzymes and probiotics are very healthy. Digestive enzymes when you eat your meal, and systemic enzymes on an empty stomach every morning. These are anti-inflammatory. And then we got to look at your iodine level, your thyroid function to help with bowel movements. Then we can start talking about esoteric things like, aloe or psyllium fibers or things like that. But essentially, water is number one. Good sleep and exercise, number two. Getting those minerals in, number three. Uh, being, with a thyroid that's functional, and work from there with your doctor. Jennifer says, for Dolores. Okay, Dolores McConnell is juice plus a powder or capsule. You can open up the capsules into water too. They are powder inside. God bless you, Dr. Rita. Excellent. Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, and very often you just open up the capsules and that powder comes right out. I have many patients who do that, and they even do that for their babies, 6 months and older. They'll use one capsule of that. All right, my friends, here is my TLC Health Freedom Tribe. Another joke. Why do cows have bells? Why do cows have bells? Because their horns don't work. And then finally, one more. What do you call the Terminator after he retires? What do you call the Terminator after he retires? What do you call him? The exterminator. The exterminator. Oh, I don't think, what's his name, Schwarzenegger would like me saying that. All right. Well, God bless you. I had a wonderful time. I always look forward to this. Please like and subscribe. Please share with your family and friends, and try and help promote health and lower our health care costs by doing this. And we'll see you next Monday at 6 p.m. God bless and good night.